Hi everyone, I'm Whitney and I'm here with my mom, Janet, and we thought we'd do a little Q&A video today because she might be putting some videos on my channel later this summer while I'm still out on quote-unquote maternity leave with this little gal, Skylar. And so we thought it'd be fun if you could kind of get to know my mom a little bit before then, a little bit about her sewing and crafting and different things. So anyway, here's my mom and we're going to get into the questions. You want to say anything first?
Hi. No, just thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and we'll get right to the questions. Okay, so to start off, how did you actually start sewing and what were some of your first projects?
Well, from the earliest I can remember, probably 4 or 5, I liked to get behind my mom's sewing machine and watch the fabric come through the machine. I was very interested in sewing. And when I was about 6 or 7, I made my Barbie doll a dress out of a recycled shirt sleeve. Aww. I cut the sleeve off. I cut armholes in the cuff and just put it on my Barbie.
Yeah.
The right length. And then when I was 11, I made my first garment, which was a pair of shorts. And I've just been sewing everything since, clothes and you name it.
Yeah, I actually did the same thing. Mom made a lot of my clothes growing up, and so I would stand beside her as she was sewing at the sewing machine. Probably kind of annoyed her a little. And then I would get little scraps of fabric and things, and she would stand there as I sewed straight lines on them and things like that, just to make sure I wasn't, you know, sewing my hand.
Yeah.
And then I think I was about like 13 or so when I started making my first quilt. Mom was actually working on a quilt at the time that was all plaid.
Yeah, we recycled men's plaid shirts.
Yeah,
and I made a log cabin.
Yeah, and I used all the scraps and made a paper piece string quilt. I've showed it a couple times on this channel. So I started that when I was about 13 or so on a machine that didn't even backstitch. And then sometime after that, I made a pair of pajama pants, and that was my first sewing project using a pattern. So that was a whole different experience.
Yeah.
But kind of similar start to how we got to sewing.
And I still have those squares. My plaid quilt was a log cabin, and I still have the squares and have yet to put them together and quilt them.
I still have to bind my quilt, so we're not the best at finishing, but we get started.
Yeah. And we finished other things.
Yeah, we finished a lot of stuff. And next up is what are some of our favorite things to sew. So I'll let you go first.
Okay. After I started sewing, I sewed a lot of clothes for myself in my teenage years and older, and then when I had kids, I sewed for Whitney and her sister a lot of clothes, and now I mostly like to do home deck sewing and mainly small quilts like the one behind me I made, and also like to sew purses. Here's one that I made, and here's another one. So fabric.
I really like that one.
Fabric. Thank you. Fabric purses like that, and just anything and everything, baby things and everything.
Oh yeah, you make a lot of baby blankets and stuff like that too.
Baby blankets, burp cloths,
yeah,
stuff like that.
Yeah. And then I do a lot of everything because I tend to try to come up with different projects for tutorials, so it's not always necessarily things that I'll be using, but it's things that I can show you all how to use. But I do definitely like making tote bags. I also really like making costumes. You all know I'm into cosplay, and so I like trying to recreate a character's costume based on the pictures or, you know, video clips or whatever. I really enjoy trying to do that, to replicate. So
yes, and we have an Etsy store that we periodically put things on, sometimes slower when we don't have as much time.
Yeah, I do have
horses, and you have more.
We have pillow shams and
sheets and
different things on there. So there'll be a link below to our Etsy store. It's actually a shared store. I don't know if you all know that, but we started it as a shared store so that if one of us couldn't always keep up with it, we could both work on it together. And so that's why there's such a variety on there, is because we both just work on whatever we want to, and then
our interest,
and then just post it on there whenever we can. So yeah, that's what we like to do.
Yep.
Well, it sounds like Peyton just woke up upstairs, so we got to wrap this up. So our last question is just like other things we like to do, different hobbies and things like that. So we'll end with that.
Okay, well, I obviously like sewing, cooking, growing flowers, cross stitch. I collect sewing machines, vintage sewing machines, and like the one behind me is one of my latest ones. I like to read. And Whitney and I, when we get together, we like to go thrifting, don't we?
Yes, we do. We have so much fun thrifting. That's a cat. Sorry. That is not Peyton. That's a cat.
Good news is she's still asleep.
Yeah. Anyway, yeah, we like to go to the thrift store and find good deals on like vintage sheets. I've been finding fabric lately. I've had some haul videos on that. In the past, I've thrifted vintage sewing machines. So yeah, that's kind of our biggest hobby right now because it gets us out of the house. We're able to load the kids up, and this one sleeps the whole time we're shopping, and Peyton just has a blast people watching. So that's kind of our big hobby right now.
And actually, you got me started collecting vintage machines.
Yeah, yeah.
She bought one from a yard sale down the road for $5, and I had never had a vintage machine before.
16 or 17?
Yeah. And so then that got me into buying them and collecting them, and you bought some in college. And
the one I use for every tutorial now, I got that my last year of college for just a couple bucks. But yeah, man, what would we be doing if I hadn't bought a machine for $5 like 12 years ago?
Yeah, once you start, you just kind of collect them. They show up, and
I like them though. They're very sturdy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that's it.
Right.
So thanks, Mom, for being in my video.
Well, thanks for having me. It's fun.
Yeah. And so, like I said, keep an eye out for my mom on this channel in the coming months. And also, if you want to see a video that we did together before, we did a Jelly Roll Race quilt top. Both of us did one. And so I will link to that video in the information icon in the corner of the video, so you can go check that out. And yeah, that's it for today. So thanks, Mom.
Okay,
And we'll see y'all later.
Okay,
bye.